Welcome, amazing agents from all across the country. Today is May 4th, 2017, and this is Mastermind call number 124. We were just chatting a little bit as we got ready to start the call, and as always, guys, we appreciate your participation. You guys don't need to hear us talk for 30 minutes. We do try to keep these calls at 30 minutes. If we have a lot of participation, I think we've gone as long as an hour, but the goal is to, help you get your questions answered and get you back to work in 30 minutes or so. We do have one person in the queue, and it looks like Tim is not here yet. So, Chad, you said the next mastery class was set and ready to go. You want to tell everybody about it?
Yeah, so Probate Mastery is scheduled for May the 15th, 17th, and 19th. We do the sessions from at 2 p.m. Eastern, so Monday and Wednesday will be around 2 to 3, and then Friday has been running more like 2 to 4. So if you want to sign up, you can do that by looking in subscriber portal on the left, look under Education and Training, and click Probate Mastery. I'll also send out emails next week, so you'll have a couple opportunities to sign up by email. If you're not a subscriber, you can go to alltheleads.com, and in the top under the system, Probate System, Education and Training, you can find the Probate Mastery sign-up page. And if you're not familiar with Mastery, on that page, there's a video that kind of explains what it is, why we offer it, and gives you the course curriculum. And I will say we've got a couple of hundred people that have taken Mastery in the last year or so, and any of you guys who have been through Mastery that want to join us again, please do. We have alumni, and almost every month we have somebody who's taken it. And I really enjoy having those people in the class because they can bring, they learned, they went out and implemented, and they can bring what they've learned back to the table. So I have usually those conversations are between me and those people, but having them in the class is really helpful for new folks too. So if you've ever taken Mastery and you'd like to take it again, there's no charge. You're kind of a lifetime member once you take Mastery. So if you want to join us, just let me know. You can email chad@alltheleads.com if you want to do that, and I'll get you registered as alumni. Also from my wheelhouse training-wise, we did the role play call yesterday, and there was some confusion. Apologize, guys, for if anyone showed up early. It did end up on our calendar a little bit an hour early. But the role play calls are always on the first Wednesday of each month at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So we did that call yesterday. If you weren't able to catch it, or if you were going by the calendar, not the email invite, you can find that in the subscriber portal on the left. Click on Conference Calls, Conference Call Archive, and if you're on the call and you're not a subscriber, you can join our Facebook group, which is All the Leads Mastermind, and you can find it there. It was an interesting call. We had a couple scenarios that we haven't had before that we role played, and then we had a few comments and questions and discussion toward the end. So if you haven't listened to those role play calls and you are getting on the phones, the last 4 or 5 have been really good, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback. So before you hit the phones, you may just listen to those and kind of get yourself psyched up and work on your language. And I think that's all I have, Jim.
Yeah, just one comment I hear from the people that have taken Mastery more than once is that, we've been doing this for going on 4 years now. I think we're coming up on our 4th year, and I believe our quality in every aspect of what we do has gotten better, and I keep hearing people say that took it before, it was great the first time, but, how much better it was the next time. And part of that is the quality has improved, and, we know Chad has a better idea what you need help with and what to focus on. And also, I think once you've heard it the first time, it's good to come back for a refresher. And sometimes things will sink in the first time that you didn't really register with you, prior. Also, go ahead, Chad. Comment.
You can finish with that. One more thing I want to cover.
I was going to say also. We have over 100. This is Mastermind call number 124, and we've got approximately 20 role play calls. You don't necessarily need to listen to all of them, but if you have a particular topic, something you're interested in, something you want to work on, Chad has them all summarized. There's a little tab there that tells you what was discussed in the call. So you can kind of thumb through them all and go to something that you think you need help with, and you don't have to wait for the next call. You can kind of do that as needed. And that was my comment. Go ahead, Chad.
Okay. I just wanted to give a big shout out to everybody who has been participating and helping each other in our Facebook group. The intent when we started this was to create a real community of agents and brokers that actually help each other. And I'm really proud that that's what it's turned into. And there's been a lot of activity in there in the last day or two. There was a lady who just got blasted on. Well, she didn't get blasted on the phone, but she had a really sensitive personal representative who broke down in tears, and she did the right thing and handled it gently. But then she came to the group and said, "Hey guys, this just happened to me," and you guys all jumped in and encouraged her, as did I. And I can't tell you how proud I am that of how we're treating each other as peers and helping people actually do this, because we're all doing it for the right reasons, hopefully. But I encourage you guys to, if you're not looking at that group, and you're not participating, jump in there and help each other. I love seeing that because, the more we share what we're hearing on the phones with each other, the better we're all going to get. So thank you guys for everybody who's contributed, and kudos to those of you who raise your hand and say, "Holy crap, I need help."
Excellent. Well said. Tom is on the call today, and Tom, I think you had something you wanted to share with the group.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Just wanted to mention that as a company, we want to communicate with our customers on a regular basis. To do this, we are implementing an account management process where I will be contacting all customers via phone, email, surveys, etc., to get updates on your marketing campaigns, to discuss challenges that you may be having, review the wins that you've had with listings, and also explore ways that we can assist you to be more successful. We want to have a strong communication bond with each of you to make sure we are doing our best to help you succeed. That's a goal of ours, and I have already started this in the past 2 or 3 weeks, and if you haven't received a call from me, you probably will soon. But I just wanted to update you all on that.
Excellent. And your intent is to reach out to people on a regular basis. If they need anything from you, Tom, as always, guys, if you need help with any aspect of what we offer, the best way to get that help is send an email to support@alltheleads.com and just be real specific on what you need help with. If it's a technology issue, it will not be me calling you back, I promise you. If you want to add another county, I'll call you. If it's a coaching issue, Chad will get back to you. Something with the mail program, Mark or Tim, and something as far as your systems or how to get better results, it'll be Tom. And we also have employees, but just send us a very detailed email, as detailed as possible. And that really, we all read those, and that way the best person will get back to you usually very quickly. Our average response time is less than 20 minutes. So, we want to be there for you, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that happens. Thank you, Tom. That sounds great. And Tim is on the call now. Tim, before we get to our callers, anything you want to add? Tim, you there? All right. I guess he doesn't have anything, or we may have lost him. We do have 3 people in the queue. There was plenty of room for more. Again, guys, *6 and hit 1. And this call is for you, and it's about you. So ask questions and participate. And we're going to go to the first person. Oh, good. We have more in there. First person in the queue, phone number ending in 3689. You're up.
Hi, this is Leroy in Arizona. And first I want to give some feedback for Chad. He was speaking rather low volume or not close to the mic. It was very difficult to hear him. Everybody else is very clear, but he needs to take a deep breath and project. So just for you. My question now, and I haven't really started doing this yet because I have something that makes me wait until I get that first list and go for it. I have I am a realtor. I have a real estate license, and I have a plenty good-sized list of potential cash buyers because there's a lot of people flipping and wholesaling here in the Arizona area. But what I haven't figured out for sure is how does the how will I get compensated, or what kind of a contract does one use when the personal representative says, I just want to get rid of it, the sooner the better, get me what you can for it, so I then turn to cash buyers. Would you go through that procedure a little bit, whether you would typically go to one or more than one? But the main thing is does the cash buyer pay the price that it takes to buy it and then pay my commission on top of that? How does that work?
It depends on how you want to structure it. What I chose to do is I'll actually list the property, and if it's in this scenario, oftentimes it's a really low price. So you can do a flat fee commission. So if it's like a $50,000 house, rather than taking 3%, you can take $1,500, and you just write that in the listing agreement. And you had a lot of questions in there, but what I would do is blast it out to my entire cash buyer list, and then whoever came in, I would say, it's a great deal. We're taking offers. We look at the house on this date. When I found the buyer, someone that was willing to make an offer, the cover page of their offer is the unrepresented party addendum. So I'm not representing the buyer. I'm representing the seller and the seller only. And the way I pitch that to the buyer is, you're a really savvy investor, and there's no sense in you paying me a buyer's commission. Why don't I just leave you unrepresented? You're going to have an attorney closing it for you that can answer any questions. And then that way it looks good to them. And you're taking the whole listing commission because there's not a cooperating broker on the deal. Now, you could structure it differently, but because of my, dual agency is the biggest reason people get into a tight spot with their real estate license. So I stay away from dual agency completely. That's the main reasoning for why I structure them that way.
That
makes
sounds
sense?
great. That makes sense, and I'll have to kind of redo that a time or two to be sure I cover it. But thank you very much. That's a good start.
Excellent. Anything else, Leroy? You good?
That'll do it for the moment. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming and participating. Next up in the queue is the phone number ending in 1901. You're up.
Hi, yes, my name's Mark. I'm from Buffalo, New York. I'm really new to all this. My question is there somewhere on the website, I haven't been able to find it, if there's like a video or maybe a text template and the procedure for the first initial phone call?
So if you go to the fast track training, it's in step 3 of fast track. Around the 8-minute mark, we talk about why there's not necessarily a script. And when that video finishes, below it, you'll find the probate seller interview sheet, which is a single-page print-off that you can kind of use to follow the progression of the conversation. If you look and it's really good to print that off and then go to the role play archives and listen to the role plays as you kind of look at that sheet. And what that'll help you do is form your own language and good questions.
Okay, the probate seller interview sheet. I see it now.
It's really difficult to script because there's so many variables in these situations. If because you're providing options and because there's so many different things that could happen within a state, it's hard to script out. But there is, if you look in the All the Leads Mastermind Facebook group under Files, there is a sample script in there that I did write out, so you could take a look at that too.
Okay, so I'm sorry, the last one, All the Leads
Mastermind.
Where now? Mastermind, okay. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one of the reasons we highly suggest you send a letter out, because the letter is about how you can help them and introduces all your services. If you send a letter out first and then you reference it in your first call, it's an opportunity to make it more about them. want to make sure you got my letter, understand what it is we have to offer. And
Right.
if they don't, you can quickly highlight it, but then it's really just asking a good series of questions to find out the best way to help them. And if you do that, I think people perceive that you have their best interests at heart, and it's really going to make you stand out if they are talking to any other realtors. It's going to make you stand a cut above. Make sense?
Oh, great. Yep, makes sense. Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. We have 2 more people in the queue. We have plenty of room for more. So again, guys, *6 and hit 1, and you will be up next. This is a familiar caller, and you usually have something very positive to say. So phone number ending in 11. No pressure, but you're up, Belinda. Hi.
Okay, how you doing? Can you hear me clearly?
Can hear you great.
Okay, great. Okay, 2 questions. The first one is in terms of the mastery class. I've already taken it once, and I kind of came into this conversation when you all were at the tail end talking about the mastery class, taking it maybe once, more than once, and maybe understanding things a little bit better as you go along. Maybe the second time more so than the first time. Is there a discount for if you're taking it? If you're going to take it more than one time, and if not, can we listen to other sessions of the mastery class?
How does 100% discount sound? Does that sound good?
It's glorious, absolutely glorious.
Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, there's no additional charge. So you've taken mastery before.
Yeah.
If you want registered for the April class, just let me know.
Okay.
You mean May?
Well,
May's coming
next,
up.
Yeah, the next,
May.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. And then in terms of contractors, just today on the play call, you had mentioned how to get contractors again, which was 6:00 in the morning, box donuts, coffee, that kind of thing. But the question is, or the observation would be, the question is, do you have your contractors on payroll? I mean, normally with the contract, you have to be supplying enough work consistently for them to really.
Can you? I'm sorry, Belinda. You're breaking up a bit. Can you hear her, Chad?
I heard. Do I have a contractor on payroll?
Yeah. So you heard me.
Yeah. Now we can hear you better. Thank you. Yeah.
So
yeah,
no,
it's hard to ask these people to, to meet them, try to put people on a list in case you need to use them. Once you start using it, if it's consistent, then they stay kind of, close by. And that's what the question is. Do you have them on payroll? Is there some way you keep them engaged, or?
No, I mean their business is completely independent of mine, and I don't ever pay them directly, for this type of work. Contractors are used to giving quotes. They work for free until they, get a contract. So it's very similar to our industry. So if you have a good contractor, they're not going to have a problem. I mean, and it's within reason. I mean, if they do 50 quotes for you and never get a job, they're probably going to be less likely to come to the next one. But as you're starting the relationship, you want to make sure that you're only sending. It's just like a real estate lead. You want to make sure that you're giving them a relevant lead to give that quote to. If you think that the chance is more likely than not that they're going to get that job, then it's worth their time to come out and quote, give you a scope of work and quote the job for you.
Okay.
And,
right. And
I mean, it's a really good. My contractors, I think, are so loyal to me. Like the guy that I use for smaller jobs, he is my exclusive punch work contractor. So when I post inspection, like when the buyer gives me a removal of contingency, I send that list to him, and I'm like, just make your QuickBooks quote, match that, and give me the price. And he gets all of my contract punch work. So that's how he knows that he might not get this job, or he might not get the next one or the next 4, but any time that I have work, it's his work, and he knows that. And so we would just I'm loyal to him, and he's loyal to me.
Okay. So you must do quite a bit of that type of work with your interaction with your probate versus
actually no.
Just an agent.
It is an option that we provide, but what you'll find is most families won't be willing to put any money into the home. Now, once you've negotiated a contract and the inspection's done and they realize the closing's not going to happen, that
Right,
willingness
right.
oftentimes changes.
Oh, okay.
But most of the work that I do with my contractors is just, conventional deal punch work. Or, I mean, we flip houses too, but
Yeah,
um,
that's why I asked. I know you had some other
most
business
of the revenue that
benefits.
they've generated from my business is not on probate. But the
Okay,
fact
okay.
that, the reason we keep that in as one of the big offerings in our probate options, it really differentiates you from other agents. Like if you can set them up with a vetted contractor and offer to completely renovate a home, probably no one else is going to offer them that. But that transparency of, hey, we can help you flip this and make the absolute top value if you're willing to reinvest the money, and we can coordinate it for you. The
Okay.
investors
So
aren't going to say that, and the other realtors aren't going to say that. So it really differentiates you.
yeah, it does, and that's the difficult portion to get that piece in place, especially having them vetted. But what do you think about, for example, there are sites where they on the web. One is called Home Advisor. I'm not promoting them one way or the other, but just for an example, because that's the ones I've used even to have things done at my own home. And what I had in mind, because I don't have a vetted contractor, was, say, for example, once I get the first instance of doing a probate where they actually are wanting to do that, or I need to have a contractor, I would then go to, the Home Advisor site, and they always tell you, pick three, and then they would come through and give you quotes. Do you think that's something viable, or maybe it may take too much time, or
No,
well,
for
what's your
sure. I mean,
thinking on that?
Angie's List is a great resource. I mean,
Yeah, she
there
makes
you
you pay
basically
though.
have,
You got to pay
well,
for her list. But Home Advisor, you don't have to pay. But sometimes you get what you pay for.
yeah. I mean, it's I'm not familiar with it, but I mean, the
Mhm.
concept is good. Yeah. I mean, if you've got a place where where people can leave reviews, and they, they're probably, if you're not paying to have the service, they're probably paying to be there. So that's a pretty good filter. They're marketing their business.
Okay.
And Belinda, you
Okay.
bring up a good point. I think it's important that we make the distinction. I've had a lot of prospective, customers and new agents say, "Oh, this is overwhelming. I got to do all these activities and coordinate them." And this is not like an REO. You're not going to pay money out of your pocket. This is no
Right.
different
Right.
than your standard transaction where you have a good mortgage company, a good lender, a good termite company, and good inspection company. You just find one person that's vetted and put them in touch with the seller. You're not expected to coordinate all this. And the reality is, in my own experience, I would say 75% of the time, the people never needed any of them. But whether you need them or not, having them differentiates you from any other agent. And when they are needed, you're really providing that extra level of the service that nobody else provides. But don't get too caught up in it. I mean, if an agent doesn't have all of these elements, I wouldn't let it stop them from getting started. You'll find good people, but just find somebody good like you would in your regular business that you can comfortably recommend, and put them in touch with the seller.
Okay. Okay.
Make sense?
Yep. I mean, it takes a little time, and what I had intended to
Sure.
do was just to approach it as an agent. As the instant comes up that I need it, then I'm just going to have to scramble and get it.
Sure.
So yeah, that's just the approach I'm taking. I have a list that I've gone through and Googled and stuff like that. A few people I've talked to, but if you don't actually give them business or have business, you don't get a chance to vet them. Other than
Right.
to look at referrals and testimonials and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll put them pieces in place as I move along. That's the way I'm going to have to do it.
Perfect. Thank you as always for participating. And I think I gave you kudos last week, Belinda. You have a full-time job and you're doing this in your spare time, and you're really taking it on, full speed ahead. So thanks as always for asking good questions and participating. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thanks.
All right, great. We
Thanks
only
for
have one
coming,
other
too.
person.
Yeah.
Sure. We only have one other person in the queue. We do have room for more. Again, guys, *6 and hit 1 if you'd like to actively participate. And phone number ending in 3299, you're up.
Thanks. This is Rich from Pennsylvania, new to the course, and happy to be
Welcome,
here.
Rich.
Received our first batch of leads in the beginning of April and have mailed them out. And we're an auction company, so we're also realtors, but definitely way more of an auction company, deal out with the personal property from different estates. And what we've done so far, what we've had a difficult time with, not with this, but in general, is getting into the attorneys here in this county. It is certainly a good old boy network, probably like a lot of different places. And it struck me, one reason we considered joining this was that the ability to email these attorneys with something to get in front of them of importance other than just, hey, how you doing? And put together a very short, quick email, and in the title put the docket number that you folks provided, and it seemed to work very well. This just took place this week. And out of roughly, let's say 30 emails to these attorneys, without counting, I'm going to say roughly I heard back from 6 of them. And they were,
wow.
And I'll get to my question, I'm giving kind of background. And I heard back from that many, and, all very good from, something is, not positive or neutral is, it's already been taken care of, et cetera, to I contacted the PR and nothing is needed, to maybe something is needed, and then to one that actually kicked up an old estate we had worked on, and now I'm 90% sure we will get that estate. And this thing's, I think, definitely pushed the door open further back into this actually very nice estate to get. My question is, based on that background, in your experience, who makes the decision typically for these estates? Is it the PR or is it the attorney?
Yeah, in Chad, I'm sure you'll have a take on that. In most of our clients' experience, the PR makes the decision. As a matter of fact, the agents that prospect the attorneys say the most common feedback they get from the attorney is, I do what I'm good at. I don't like to recommend realtors because it reflects badly on me if you don't do a good job. So attorneys don't typically supply a realtor, and the executors are the low-hanging fruit. You can get a hold of them. They're the ones that are authorized to list the property. So we always recommend you reach out to them first. But having said that, what you're doing is very smart, because an executor is going to give you one deal. An attorney can give you a career worth of referrals. And another thing you did that is very smart there, I don't know if you heard that on the calls, but whether it's a phone call, an email, we've heard from numerous agents that don't call and, say this is, John Smith, ABC Realty. Call and say, hey, this is John. I'm calling about probate case number 57203. And that's exactly what you did on the envelope there. If you reference a docket or a case number, it sounds much more like a official correspondence or, something that the attorney should respond to. So you're going to get better results doing that. And I think Chad will share with you too. The best results we've had are from agents that pick out the attorneys that are doing multiple deals per month and just stop by their office if you have the time and the bandwidth to do that. But they all work, and I think that's a great thing. I think too many of our agents just completely overlook the attorneys, and it is a very viable source of long-term business. So, don't ignore it. Anything you want to add, Chad?
Oh, I second everything you said. Like this morning, I actually went through this with one of our subscribers. She had 69 leads on her list, and I actually pulled it and did a sort, and six attorneys held the majority of those. So you're going to find attorneys in your town that specialize, and they're likely going to be family law. They're going to be practicing probate, family law, estate planning. So if you can just show them how your company can support their company, and you get direct referrals, but you also get endorsements. So when the PR calls and says, we got this letter from this auction company, I don't know what they're doing. Oh, I actually know that guy. I had coffee with him last week. You should give them a call. They have a really good thing. They're really helping a lot of folks. So you can get those endorsements. The better those attorneys understand your business and how it complements theirs, the more likely they're going to be to kind of give you the nod when they talk with their clients that may or may not be returning your phone calls. So it can really increase the response to your marketing. You can also, what we've found is, a lot of times those attorneys are also the ones handling divorce, trusts, different things like that. So when the family has, when a family has a living trust and someone passes away, a lot of times the first call from the family will be to the attorney who wrote the trust documents, and they're oftentimes the trustee. So if they understand what you do and they know that this family needs to sell an asset out of the trust, they can give you that direct referral that you won't get anywhere else. Like, you know, that's never going to see public documents because it's, you know, you have the anonymity of a living trust. So network as much as you can with those attorneys. Email's effective. Office visits are best. You know, we find if you listing a house is a really good way to break the ice and just say, you know, listen, we listed this one and I noticed you were the attorney. Really just wanted to introduce myself face to face and just see if there's any way we can make this easier on you. And in future deals, they're going to remember that. You know, you'll probably be the first realtor that ever showed up and said, listen, we're really looking to provide options to families and we have a pretty wide scope of service, and how can I make your life easier? And
Chad, let me, if I could, I just wanted to add to that. When you list the property, you really have a legitimate reason that you should be calling the attorney to find out what the anticipated completion date is. I always tell the agents, hey, you know, I just listed the Smith property. I need to talk to Attorney Johnson to find out when he anticipates the probate will be completed. And so I can put the comments in the MLS, you know, probate in progress, please date contracts on or after June 30th. So you also, in addition to what Chad said, reaching out to be of service to them, you have a legitimate reason why they should return your call. It's in the best interest of their client to, you know, to work with the realtor. So, and I think that type of a call is more likely to get returned than a generic call.
Fantastic.
Make sense?
It absolutely does. And the visits are the next step in this with the attorneys. And, you know, we even had an attorney said, yep, it sounds like we need to get together and sit down and talk. That's how well that initial email worked for this. So I greatly appreciate it.
Now, that is a 20% response rate is phenomenal. And forgive me, those of you that have been on this call, this is probably the third time I've told this story, but if you really want to carry it to an extreme, we had a gentleman, I think it was in Pennsylvania, one of our new clients, that noticed an attorney that was doing 4 or 5 deals a month, couldn't get him to respond, so he finally called the office and said, you know, what's Mr. Johnson's hourly fee? And he actually booked an hour and paid for it to go down and spend an hour with the attorney. Obviously, you're not going to do that on all of them, but what a very creative way to get in front of somebody who could give him a lot of business, and he's been getting consistent referrals ever since he did that. So whatever it takes to get in front of them, you know, it can pay off big time in the end. Excellent. Anything else we can help you with?
No, it's perfect. Thank you.
All right. Well, we are coming up on the end of the call. I don't see anyone else in the queue. Last call. Tim, I know you're on the call now. Anything you wanted to share or conclude with the group?
No, I'm always, it's really just perspective. You know, Chad was talking and you've sort of said the same thing. We spend a tremendous amount of time what used to be referred to as contemplating our navels. We look inside ourselves a lot here, and my other 3 partners who are on this call will tell you that I've become a colossal kind of pain in the butt to make sure we are tightening up our systems and doing the best job we can to make sure we're not only delivering what we say we're going to deliver, but we always strive to deliver more than we say we're going to do. And I got to tell you, I've got, you know, it's the best team I've ever worked with. We really are working awfully hard to make sure we do a good job for you, and we're rewarded by, you know, you guys sticking around and coming back and telling us great things and getting good results. But this is a pretty special thing we've got going here, and we always feel rewarded when we have these calls. So the only thing I'd say right now is I'm just awfully grateful to be here.
Awesome. That would be a great way to end the call, but one more person jumped in the queue, and I don't want to leave any question unanswered. So let's go to our last caller of the day. Phone number ending in 3908. You're up.
Hey, guys. It's Sam in Richmond. How are you?
Hey, welcome, Sam. Thank you.
Good. I'm sorry to jump in. That would have been a good way to end the call. But I
okay.
do.
You can end it better. You come up with something better.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to be topped.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. One thing is we're still having just awesome success and everything's good. We just got a roughly $400,000 listing that we just agreed to with a a PR who's been very, very emotional. She's cried every time. She cried during the listing appointment. She's been super, it's been an interesting, delicate process to deal with. But I've been persistent and caring and not pressuring her, and she's finally ready to just get it over with, and then deal with the grieving. So I've actually been talking to her since November. So just to all the new people out there, it does pay off, but sometimes it takes a while. And I do have a question. So I have a little bit of background, and I know I've talked about this before, but Virginia's weird because everybody has to file probate. So no matter who the person is, what they own, anything, how old they are, they have to have a probate filed for them. And we don't have a lot of attorneys because most times people just go to the courthouse and file with the probate clerk. So with that knowledge, I've been scrubbing my leads to just make sure that I'm not sending to anybody. Like a couple of times I've had kids who have been probate leads, so I don't want to send to, parents of anybody. I've gotten into the habit of scrubbing leads. This recent batch, I came across a lead she's the PR for her parents' estate. Her parents were actually killed by her brother, who's now on trial for murdering them, but his name is also on the estate with hers as the PR. So I've a kind of a two-part question. One, what kind of letter do I send her? How do I market to her? And two, how long should I wait before doing that? Because there is a house to sell. I know there is. I've looked at the records. But how would I even go about trying to approach this lead?
Before Chad answers that, I have to say for the new people, you could go your whole career and not come across a deal like that.
This is super odd. Oh yeah, this is super odd.
So it's definitely a one-off, but it's a great question. Go ahead, Chad.
So I mean, it's good that you know that, and it's good you did that research. Don't let her know that you know that.
Oh, of course.
Because I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's just the social aspect of having to live with what your brother has done has got to be really tough. So I wouldn't really change how I market to her. You might. I think I would just go about business as usual and call and I mean you know those things in the back of your mind. You know there's a house. You know that. There's the likelihood that hopefully he's not the. I'm not sure how that would be handled. If he was a co-executor, if one executor could handle it, then that would be an interesting question. It would be a really good reason to reach out to one of the probate attorneys that you've been trying to make contact with. And hey, Mr. Attorney, I keep seeing your name come up. We've been doing a lot of business in helping these families, and I've got this crazy scenario. Could I talk to you for just 5 minutes about it and kind of see what to expect? And just maybe it's a good reason to reach out to one of those attorneys, and they're going to remember you when you tell that story for sure.
I'm sure they will.
From a marketing standpoint, I don't think I would do much different. I would just reach out and kind of offer the same offer. You have a good letter, and when that person calls you or when you get them on the phone, you're going to have to use. You've got a great empathetic approach already. I think it's just a matter of marketing to them and get the conversation started.
Okay. Yeah, I do actually have. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Sam: is that perchance one of the few that actually shows an attorney, or is there not an attorney on that particular probate?
There is not an attorney listed on this probate, but I have an attorney from a previous probate listing that I have a good relationship with, that I've built from just having to deal with probate. So I think the idea of asking them for advice is a good one. So I do. I do have an estate attorney I can ask this question.
Yeah, that's Chad gave you great advice. Is he actually? He's currently on trial. Is he?
So
he's on trial, or he's what?
Yeah, the trial doesn't start until next month, but he is accused and in custody and in the being held in jail.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah.
That was my
question.
So,
keep in mind, Sam, you may have two houses, because if he's incarcerated, he may have to sell his house to pay for legal representation.
That is true.
And the same, I was just going to say exactly the same thing. She may have a high degree of motivation. Who knows what the circumstances are, and you may find that she has a high degree of motivation to sell that house. Did the murder happen in the house?
I believe so.
Then I suspect that anything that you could do to help her move that house would be much appreciated. And her motivation could be extremely high to get it done as quick as she could, if she can get it done quickly.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, it sounds like we're picking her bones, but I think in this case, you potentially could provide the best possible service to something that she probably is just torn up about even trying to deal with. And if you
Right.
can certainly help her, you're in the best position in the world to put some value on this.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for all the advice. I appreciate it. I know that's a super odd scenario.
Yeah, and boy, if you could handle a situation like this and help them and come from a place of contribution, your average probate is going to be a piece of cake. It's going to be relatively easy. Because in 4 years, that's the first time we've come across that scenario. But hey, it's good to know, and congratulations on just coming from a real sense of contribution. That's going to stand out, whether there's major issues in the deal or not. So. Great question, and with your success story, that was a good way to end the call, so thank you. Guys, thank you so much for showing up today. You took 40 minutes to be here. Thank you for participating. I always like to end these calls by challenging you. Take one thing, one theme, one idea, one story you heard today, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share it with the group. Make it a great week, guys. We'll talk to you same time next Thursday. Take care.